No one is happy in this miserable baseball town that we live in. How we doing? As the New York Mets continue, step up Ryan Helsley. That's your turn today. It's been the starting pitching for a week. It's been the offense for 2 months. It's Ryan Helsley tonight as the Mets do what bad teams do. I know it's cliche. I know. But it's a cliche for a reason. Bad teams find ways to lose. I tweeted it Saturday. Amazingly enough, the Yankees came back and won the game. But I tweeted it Saturday about the New York Yankees. And it goes for the New York Mets too right now. It's going to be an at-bat, or it's going to be a bad pitch, or it's going to be a defensive play. It is going to be something. They are going to find a way to lose a game. And to have the Atlanta Braves, the dead Atlanta Braves, as even Keith Hernandez said this at the end of the game, to have the dead Atlanta Braves walk into that building, take 2 of 3, manage to come back on the opening game. Pete hits the home run. Ooh, look at that coming on. Pete hits the home run. They take a 5-1 lead. Atlanta storms back, then gets their ass kicked the rest of the game. It's a celebration for the Mets and the Met fans. And then the next 2 nights, whether it's the 6-0 and lousy performance from Peterson, where they had a 6-0 lead. We went over it yesterday. I was on last night. And then you look at this game, where you finally get the starting performance you're looking for. That's what's frustrating about this. You got everything you wanted. You jump out to a 6-0 lead on Wednesday. You get everything you want on Thursday. You get Kodai Senga to go deep into the game. He was throwing his fastball at like 96. He looked good. He wasn't, you'd like him to go deeper. But to go 5 2/3 and give up 2 runs, that's all you're looking for. They bring in Rogers, and obviously Rogers and this bullpen, right? The trade deadline, they go get Rogers, they go get Helsley. We're all praising them. We're praising Stearns and what he was able to do at the deadline, and what a coup. And now the back 3 end of that bullpen between Rogers and Helsley and obviously Diaz is going to be unstoppable. That's as good a bullpen as soon as that trade deadline is made. We're talking about really both teams, but let's focus on the Mets for a second. Oh man, is there another better bullpen in baseball? I mean, I know the Padres have a great bullpen, but really that 3-headed monster, the 2 closers and Rogers that the Mets are going to roll out. And to have this team, Rogers comes in, he gives up the base hit to tie the game at 2, and then the offense comes right back. Right? The offense comes right back. You get the lead. You get Lindor, who's starting to break out of his slump. You get the walk from Soto. You get the fly ball from... You get the fly ball from Nimmo. And then Soto steals a base. You get the big clutch hit from Pete, a base hit you've been clamoring for. That this offense, as we talk about them struggling with runners in scoring position, and we'll get more into Juan Soto, but Pete gives you the big base hit to take the lead, and you figure that's all you need. In comes the bullpen, in comes Ryan Helsley, and he is awful. And he has been awful as a New York Met. And yes, we'll talk about whether he should have the intro taken away and everything else. But man, oh man, to get the start, we've talked about the starting pitching and how bad it's been and how unable they've been going to get deep into the games. Right? That has been their issue for forever. They haven't been able to get deep into the games. We've seen it for the last 2 weeks. They got kids coming up over the weekend, and God help them. But they are desperate to get innings. You get it. For months, desperate to get that big clutch hit. Desperate to come through. Once the game is lost, once that momentum changes, once you get out to that early lead and then it falters, that's it. The Mets don't come back. They don't show you the fight. We've been talking about that for forever. And right back after blowing the lead, right back out there with stolen bases and aggressive base running. You get the clutch sac fly. You get the big 2-out hit from Pete Alonso to give you the lead. You get everything you've been clamoring for over the last 2 months. You get a pitcher to go into the 6th. You get the big clutch hit. You have the lead late to go to your bullpen. And Ryan Helsley, who has been awful as a New York Met, whose fastball is being hit at ridiculous levels. Tonight it was his slider. He's supposed to be dominant this year against left-handed hitters with his slider. They're clobbering it. He gives up the ball off the wall. He can't. It's not even that he just blows the game. Fine. Then he gives them the lead with the ball off the wall. And we'll get into Soto and deking him and why isn't he hitting the cutoff man? It's just everything. They are going to find ways to lose. This team is so maddening to watch. Both of these teams. But to watch this team do what it does against a dead Atlanta Brave team as they're desperate for wins. 2 out of the last 15 games. They just had a 7-game win streak. They turned it into 2 of their next 15. And it's every which way. And what's frustrating about this one in particular for me is that the 2 main questions you felt were answered. You got the starting pitching. It's not a virtuoso performance. It's not one that you would call ace-like. He didn't dominate the Atlanta Braves, but he pitched you into the 6th. He gives up the 1 run. Rogers comes in, supposed to be another guy they brought in, a part of this trade deadline coup. He comes in, gives up soft contact, which is what he does. And we could talk, Yankee fans can tell you about soft contact and Clay Holmes. Soft contact, little looping base hit that ties the game, and the Mets offense right back at it. For weeks, they score early, then they do nothing. They score early, the pitching gives up the lead, never see the offense again. That has been the MO of this team for the last month. And they get the starting pitching, then they get the offense to come right back and take the lead again, and then Helsley blows the game. And then in the 9th, forget about it. And we'll get to the 8th with Juan Soto, who again, I already had this conversation last night about Juan Soto. This series, last night at bat, tonight's at bat in the 8th inning, they are the perfect description of what Juan Soto has been all year. These 2 at bats are exactly what the problem is with Juan Soto this entire season. He had a good series. Right? I think he had 3 hits and 3 walks. He's on base 6 times in the 3 games. He hits the home run the other day to help them build that 6-0 lead. He steals the base that sets up the base hit from Alonso to give the lead. That's a big stolen base. He doesn't run. We talk about what we did see and what we didn't see as Yankee fans last year in every at-bat of Juan Soto and what he did with the Nationals and Padres. And we talk about what we did see in the clutch hitting and what we haven't seen with the Mets. He makes a really good defensive play to deke Harris at second base, but then he throws to the wrong base after. Instead of hitting the cutoff man, he goes right to second. He's stealing bases, which he never did with the Yankees last year. He steals a big base to get into scoring position. It leads to the big run that takes the lead. Boom. Juan Soto is one of the better players that the Mets had this weekend. These 3 days. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And yet, in the 8th inning, after Lindor gets the infield single, when you need the base hit, you need him to come through. Hell, you'll take a walk there, right? You need him to get on base. You need him to be a part of that rally in the 8th inning, and he strikes out on 3 pitches. That is who Juan Soto has been for the New York Mets this year. Plain and simple. That is a microcosm of everything that has been the problem with Juan Soto. He has a good series. He's one of the better offensive players on the team. But when it comes to those impact moments, he isn't there. They're awful. Their starting rotation can't throw strikes, and when they do, they don't hit. And when they do, the bullpen blows it. It's just, I don't know how this team has fallen from one of the best teams in baseball in the middle of June, June 13th, the infamous day for both of these teams, how they have fallen to a team that doesn't know how to win. Plain and simple, that's who they are. For a team that was 11 games under 500 last year, with the same manager, by the way. 11 games under 500 last year, who had the team meeting, moved Lindor to leadoff, and sparked them, along with, Grimace and OMG and everything else, sparked them to the best record in baseball from that Arizona series on. Found a way to win in Atlanta, doubleheader, to get into the postseason. Found a way to beat the Phillies. Found a way, forget that, found a way down to their final 2 outs against what was then, imagine, amazingly enough, the best closer in baseball or the best reliever in baseball in Devin Williams. You found a way down to your final 2 outs to get the big home run and win that series. Then you beat Philadelphia. This Met team found a way to win every big game last year. And they have forgotten how to win. I don't know how it happens. The collapse of this Met team from a team that made that run last year, that changed the dynamic of the New York sports landscape by bringing in Juan Soto and signing him to that contract, to starting off the year as one of the best teams in baseball, building a 5-game division lead, to falling on their face, to being under 500 since the end of May, to not knowing how to win. You can feel it. The Atlanta Braves are dead. They're throwing Cookie Carrasco. Elder has had a miserable year. He shuts them down for the most part and has a good performance. They bring in one of the better closers over the last couple years in Helsley, who strikes people out, who throws 100 miles an hour. His numbers off his fastball in his career are fantastic. He's getting pounded. This is not the first game. Ryan Helsley has been a disaster. The trade deadline for both of these teams has been a disaster. Mullins has hardly done anything. Rogers has been okay, but I can think of 2 or 3 big impact hits that he's given up that have helped them lose, including last night. And Ryan Helsley has been garbage. How did this happen? And you could tell me the manager, and you could tell me Stearns and the way he builds the rotation, and I'll agree with all of it. But it's hard to pinpoint exactly what happened to this team. But last night, it's easy. Ryan Helsley blew the game. The last couple games, the starting pitching hasn't been there. The offense scores early and then goes to sleep. It's the same. If it's not one of those 3 are going to find a way to beat you. One of those 3 are going to find a way to blow a 5-run lead, to blow a 5-1 lead, to blow a 6-0 lead, to blow a 3-2 lead. They're going to find ways to do it on a nightly basis. It is hard to fathom what this team looks like now. And now they are a half a game up, over the Cincinnati Reds. And I'll tell you this, I think the Reds are a hell of a lot better than the Cleveland Guardians. You want to talk about which team has a better chance to make the playoffs? I think the Reds are a legitimate team. Cleveland traded away some people. Their closer is being, under the scrutiny of cheating and gambling. They've been hot, but I don't trust Cleveland. The Reds are good. The Reds have pretty good starting pitching. The Reds have a manager who's won championships and has been there. They're a half a game up from being out of the playoffs. It is one of the harder things to fathom. And Met fans, I feel for you to be at these games this week, to experience Pete Alonso, watch him hit that home run, the frustration of damn near blowing the game, but coming through and feeling like leaving that building, this is the night. This is the night where we start to build back into the team that can be a threat inside the National League and to be a World Series champion. Tonight is the night. 2 innings into the next day, you're up 6-0. Cookie Carrasco on the mound. David Peterson, the one guy you trust to give you some depth, is on the mound. And you feel like, here we go. And from that 4th inning on last night, or 2 nights ago now, it is a sickening feeling for a Met fan who had to sit through rain delays, hung around for Pete Alonso ceremonies, only to watch a dead Atlanta Brave team who has crushed you for forever come into your building, beat you 2 out of 3, and feel like they have robbed every ounce of momentum before they welcome in the Seattle Mariners. Like, just every ounce of possible momentum. It is hard to imagine that we have gotten here.